What's my dream tonight? I saw myself instructing somebody about his life. It's about how to record yourself or your life through my geopack. There was someone at my neighbor, and we were kind of living together. And I don't know why we were all living together. And so my neighbor, she's a lady, and she had my geopack. And what should she do with the geopack? Actually, it's not about doing accounting whatsoever. I realized that whatever forward movement I make, there has to be an accounting for that. And that means that there's a debt to pay to move backwards. And everything a person does is confined to a geopack, to a debit, a credit. Whatever gain you have, even if it's showing a profit, there is lose somewhere else. There's a loss somewhere else. And because there's a debt owing to somebody. And there was a friend of mine, Somesa, and he wanted how to know how to account for his life. So I told him that you can do it with geopack. I'll show to you. I went to the other side, to that lady, to look for my geopack. I wondered why I couldn't find it there to pass it, to show it to Somesa. And very interestingly, Somesa was going out. And I said, I'll go out with you. I go out with you. And I didn't know what to expect, but I opened my life to others. I go out with you. And I feel so much happier this way. There was a point in this dream when I noticed that when you make a certain move, a certain measure of energy is required. And this is in geopath. When you make a certain move, a certain amount of energy is being ascribed. And someone, the controller of that geopath, can decide how much energy you will spend for that day. And because of that, it can be that the person will not be able to move at all because he has not much of that energy for that particular move. Because he has used up that move and is being assigned by someone, and you live in the limit of that assignment. Gosh. So what's the meaning of this dream? Number one, I can see that the very fact that I couldn't find my geopack, it meant that very few people can ever understand that there is an accounting. Very few people can see that the moving forward has got a debt moving backwards. It is not something we can see, but it's a fact that is taking place. And this, I was trying to look for that geopath, but I couldn't find it. The debit and credit is circumscribing every person's life, but you can't see it. That's number one. Now, as I look back, I realize that the reason why I cannot find the geopath is because the geopath, or the generalization, or the space-time, exists only when I think of the observation. If I don't think of the observation of the world, I am not entering into space-time. But when I think of the observation, then the generalization, the space-time, in the mind itself, as I think of it, and it's not in this world at all. And that's the reason why I couldn't find a physical geopath. Number two, I find myself living in a community. Yeah, the friend that I know is just so near to me. Even Somesa, whom I've never connected for so many years, and who has actually decided to opt me out from his service, I grew up with him. And I'm happy to actually give myself to another person, to follow the other person's time, space-time. So this dream, I'm in a community. And yesterday, I felt good to talking to Carl, Lang, and the others. We were all part of a community. And I like that. Ever since I have started a little bit of this habit of self-observation while talking to my friends, I felt this community in my mind. I felt a more greater sense of love within me, a unity with everyone else, and I felt that very good. Previously, I was kind of suspicious of the intentions of others, but ever since I was able to observe the thought that observes the world, it is totally different. I am in a community. Space-time is really the observation of a thought. And when I'm inside the space-time, I'm actually with people. Yes, I'm actually with people in the space-time. No one is around me, but in the space-time, if I go in, they are in there. And that's why, and I'm also entering into that space-time. And that's why I felt a community, a lot in that space-time. And just a while ago, I had a conversation with Israel Lewis on the chat, WhatsApp. And he was asking me about the 42 name of God. And I was telling him that in order to know the 42 name of God, a man has got to know his own true name. So I'm talking to him in another space-time. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. And I'm helping him in that space-time. So I cannot in any way downgrade him. I must not in any way say that he's in the wrong track or whatever. I must encourage him the way I would encourage myself. And why? Because exactly like the geopath, I have to help him in order to help me. I have to help him like as though I'm in his position. That's what he's trying to say in this dream he's telling me. As though I'm in the same position as him. Or otherwise, how could the space-time benefit me? I have to help him as though I'm in the same position as him. That's the point. How to be in the same position? I have to enter into his space-time. That's the only way. In other words, I look at him and see the thought while looking at him. That is the space-time he's in. And then while I'm in the space-time, I talk to him. I was talking to Lawrence Wong, and I find him very, very angry with the establishment. Okay, but you see, I have to be placed in the same position as Lawrence Wong. And when the other part of me speaks to Lawrence Wong, I cannot say that he's wrong, because Lawrence Wong doesn't want to be told that he's wrong, right? Correct, that's what I'm trying to say. I have to be in the position of Lawrence Wong, and the other part of me that is helping Lawrence Wong must not look down on Lawrence Wong, but must actually look up on Lawrence Wong. Because I am Lawrence Wong. I wouldn't want somebody to demolish me down for what I am. If I do that, there is only one way. I need to look at Lawrence Wong, see the thought that is going through me while I'm looking at Lawrence Wong. So I'm entering into Lawrence Wong's space-time. So in other words, when I talk to him, in that space-time, I'm not only the one helping him, but I'm also Lawrence Wong at the moment. And this is the miracle of entering the space-time to benefit from the space-time itself. The sudden thought has come to my mind. When I enter into the space-time of another person, who is the I? Well, the I is a nameless presence, and that nameless presence has the power. In the same way that when I enter into my own space-time, meaning that I see the thoughts of myself, I will be entering into my own space-time from the nameless presence. And this is the power. This is the power. Why? Because my nameless presence is the one that is speaking in that space-time. And it will come true. And the mistake that I made just a while ago, I was saying it's Lawrence Wong's space-time. Not very true. It is actually my space-time. But my space-time when I was a Lawrence Wong. That's what it means. So in other words, I'm entering into my space-time of my own past, or space-time of my future, whatever it is that I'm helping the other person in their space-time. Is actually the other person is also me, right? That's true. So that's the beauty. I suddenly realized that I have the voice of the nameless one, when I speak into a space-time. But what if I'm speaking right now? You see, what I'm speaking right now, not being in a thinking position where I will be thinking of myself, the voice that I'm speaking is literally just simply a voice that I'm only thinking about. It may not be a voice from the nameless presence. That's the problem. But if I were to speak while thinking of myself, then the nameless presence will be speaking. And that would be an important voice. Because the voice of the nameless presence must come true. Dream, there's something very interesting that I must not ignore. There was one part where there is some kind of a power given to me when I make a move into your path. And every time I make that move, I need to use that power, or that life, you may say. And that life has got a limit somehow. And if that life ceases, then the person cannot make that journalization in the GL path. So what does that mean? Now I realize that power to make a journal entry is life itself. So when I have a space-time, it is a journal entry, right? The space-time is a journal entry. But behind the journal entry, there has to be a life, the nameless presence, right? And in other words, every time that I look at my thought, right, as I observe my thought, I say, there is a breath blowing. Now, this breath is actually the blowing of the nameless presence into me. And this is the energy, the life that I will need to make a journal entry. So what this dream is telling me is that this breath that I'm feeling while I observe my thoughts is very important because it will prolong my life in this space-time. Wow. Before I conclude this very important dream analysis that I'm having, I have to emphasize that all that I'm seeing right now is space-time. The world that I see, including myself, all that I know of myself is simply pure space-time. Space-time that has to be energized by my nameless presence, by the light beneath all of space-time. So that's why I need to observe my thoughts. Because while observing, I enter into a breath that actually blows the life into the frequency, into the space-time that I'm living in. And as I engage my life with everyone else, I engage with others in that space-time. That's right. And that's why it's very important that I begin to think about that. Thinking of what the observation is like. So that I enter into their space-time. Not their space-time, actually into my space-time. Either in the past or in the future. I enter into my space-time of the past to energize that space-time, to speak the word that will come true, to help me in that space-time, so that I'm changed even right now. When I use the word I'm changed even right now, what I meant is the space-time right now is changed. That's it, because I have helped myself in the previous space-time. That's how my life should be. I'm totally in a space-time. And what is within me is the nameless presence, the true one light of the one God. And I have to bring this one light into the space-time in order to continue this space-time. Space-time is just a mind of God. There is no life in it. It is the nameless presence of God, which is the life in it. And while I live as a David Chiu, I only live as a thought. And so the voice that I speak as a David Chiu is not an important voice, but the voice that I speak from the nameless presence, that surely must come true, for that is the voice of the one and only one. So that's why in observing my thought that observes the world, I live in the space-time, and I energize my own space-time. I help me in my previous time as well. So it's very important that I'm in a community of what? The community of people in the space-time, and they're all me. And that's the beauty of it. That's how I can sense the love that exists in that space-time. But life itself is I am, and that is all.